All right. Well, welcome everybody to Reawaken to a New You. So, tonight I'm hoping to show you a sneaky little way that I feel that you can overcome chronic pain, boost your energy, and revitalize your life with quantum medicine. Now, I know quantum medicine is a new term and not many people have ever heard of it. So, that's exactly what I want to talk about tonight. And I'm calling quantum medicine the medicine of the future. And I'll explain more in a bit. But just to give you a heads up, this is what I plan to cover tonight. First of all, I'm going to try to explain exactly what bioenergetics is, because this is really what I'm specializing in from this point forward. And more importantly, why it's so powerful and how you can take advantage of it. Okay, so now, in case you don't know me, my name is Dr. Paula Apro, and I realize that on the screen is a ridiculously long list of credentials, and I'm certainly not going to read them all to you. But basically, I'm calling myself a doctor of natural medicine right now with a specialty in bioenergetics. And all of these credentials here really, that's not the important thing. I think the most important thing is really my story, my personal story, and my personal wellness journey. And that story kind of, I feel like I'm in chapter 2 of it right now. So let me explain. Many years ago, I found myself in absolute chronic, debilitating chronic pain for over 8 years. And during that time, I was in my mid 30s. I was an athlete. I had all kinds of hobbies that I love to do, athletic hobbies. And this chronic pain really just stopped me in my tracks. And this went on for 8 years. I tried everything I could get my hands on. I went to acupuncture. I went to physical therapy. I went to chiropractic. I bought a hot tub. I bought every device known to man that'll take care of the pain, and nothing really worked for me. And it wasn't until it started to affect my work. At the time, I was part of my job was being a professional photographer, and I literally was having trouble holding my camera because I was in so much pain. I had neck pain and shooting nerves down my arms, and it was a disaster. So finally, I succumbed to going to see a neurosurgeon, and I got a titanium plate screwed to my neck. And did it correct the immediate chronic pain? The immediate pain of the pinched nerves? Yes, it did. But after 18 months of recovery, I call it the Band-Aid, even though it's still stuck to my spine. I feel like the Band-Aid fell off and all of that pain started to come back. And it was, it started with one symptom, which led to another, and I knew the vicious cycle, and I knew it was starting all over again. So that's when I really sought out the mind body connection. And I thought, if you're going to do something right in this world, you got to do it yourself. So that kind of launched me, like most people that are in holistic health or alternative medicine, it launched me into my own nonstop, never ending quest to learn as much as I can about the human body from a holistic point of view. And I'm happy to say that it's been 10 years now, and I have had no neck pain whatsoever. So that's where, I don't know if you could see my cursor, but that's where I kind of ended the story at the result. Yay, no more chronic pain in my neck. However, truth be told, I've now entered chapter 2 of my personal story. Now I'm on the other side of 50. I'm now 56 years old, and I'm starting to realize that the long-term, first of all, it was stress that caused, even though the doctor would say it was a degenerative disease, da 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 da, it was really stress that had caused all of those problems. And all of that stress wasn't just causing pain, it was also kind of like a silent killer there, just putting a constant drain on my nervous system. And it really wasn't until recently that I was in a marketing group with a bunch of women, and there was one woman who sounded like she was doing kind of what I was doing, but she was trying to help people through what she called trauma, but it was very different approach than mine because her trauma was people that were sexually abused or people that had really bad childhoods, this, that, and the other, people that knew they were traumatized. And here's the funny thing. Yes, I experienced something terrible when I was a child, and that was losing my own mother to cancer. But, I was young and I was a kid, and people always say, "Oh, the kid, you'll just get over it." And yeah, I thought I did. I mean, I never thought I was suffering. I would never have said I lived a traumatic life. I had a great life. Absolutely, absolutely fine childhood. So what I am going through, unrecognized trauma. I didn't even realize that I have been suffering my whole life. And it's quite a long story, but I'm not going to bore you with all of those details, but I just want to tell you now that this is really my passion because I'm walking in the same shoes and I've had lots of things going on, little tiny things, but when they all build up, you could get yourself into some trouble health wise. So that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people, mostly women, dealing with unrecognized trauma, that just constant stress on the body and all the terrible things it could do. Okay, so now, my credentials show that I have tons and tons of knowledge, and yes, I do. But um, there's there's really the most important lesson that I think I've learned through all of my schooling, and that's what I want to start off with tonight, telling you the most important life lesson. Now, this comes from Tao science, like Tao Te Ching. I'm sure everybody's heard of Tao Te Ching, and basically, it's three components. It's Shen, Qi, Jing. Now, Jing is physical matter, like it's our body. Qi is energy, and Shen is the new crazy stuff that I want to get into tonight. But if you can just imagine, like Jing, let's think about Jing as a pot of water. It's just a cold water sitting in a pot and it's not moving. It's just still, it's just sitting there. Nothing's happening to it. Now, if you turn the gas on your stove, the gas is the energy, right? That's the Qi. It's going to change the Jing. It's going to transform. It's going to make that water start to shake and bubble and boil. So it's the chi that affects the water. It's the chi that transforms the water into something else. And that was where I have been for the last 10 years working with energy medicine. I was manipulating the chi to change the physical body, and all was great. But I'm sure you've all noticed, anybody that has gone for energy medicine work or acupuncture, you go to an acupuncturist, they do something to manipulate that chi, and you feel great. And then it goes away, right? And then you're like, oh, I got to go back again next week and next week and next week. And that, my friends, is what Shen is all about. And that's exactly what I just want to tell you about as quickly as I can. So what is Shen? Shen is actually three things in one, and it's the soul, the heart, and the mind. Now, the soul, although we could get into lots of different kind of religious and non-religious and just mystical talk about the soul, in quantum physics, it's pretty simple. The soul is just information, and that information is either positive or it's negative. So it's just like ones and zeros. So it's just information. And in this train of thought, you come into this world, and unfortunately, you're not just a clean, innocent baby with a clean slate. You come in with information already in you, and that's from your entire ancestral line. You inherit the color of your hair and the color of your eyes, but you're also inheriting all kinds of information from your ancestors. And it could be lots of positive information, or it could be lots of negative information, depending on the lives that your ancestors had. Okay, so we got the soul information. The next thing we have is the heart. So this information in the soul, it just gets passed down to the heart. And the heart, it receives it and it feels it. It doesn't assign a meaning to it. It just feels it. Some things feel good. Some things feel bad. Obviously, the positive information feels good. The negative information doesn't feel so good. But the trouble starts once that now goes down to the mind, because the mind is going to assign the information, assign meaning to this feeling. So if you're always feeling bad, what anytime you feel a negative information, the mind is going to say, oh, this information came from XYZ, whatever was going on. Therefore, XYZ is bad, or I'm bad. Or once the mind makes up its mind, even though it could be a crazy idea, that's it. It's solid. And now you're going to look through that lens for the rest of your life. So this is what I'm showing it linearly so you understand. So we have information, and we get information every single day, right? Every conversation, every time we open up our phone, every time we turn on the TV, information is coming at us. In the information age, we cannot get away from it. So just think about all this information coming at you. How much of is it positive, and how much of it is negative? So we got all this information, and then it goes and it stirs a feeling in us, right? We're on Facebook and we're either happy and we're laughing over dog pictures, or we're angry over who knows what. But the heart is now feeling the information, and then the mind is assigning all of these meanings to it. And usually it's going to be altered and distorted information at this point. And then all of that together, that will drive the chi, which of course drives the physical body. So now let's look at it in a whole message here. I'm showing you that the information, the emotions, and the mindset go to the energy, and then the energy takes all of this information, and that is what leads to changing the physical body. So basically, the bottom line here is the more positive information you have, you're going to have a better chance to create health and harmony. And the more negative information you have, that's going to create challenges in your life. And this is not just health challenges. That's the important thing to know. This is relationship challenges. This is financial challenges. This is challenges with your success and work, all of these things. So any persistent negative cycle that we find ourselves in, it's just a matter of we have more negative than we have positive information. So I used to say for 10 years, change your energy, change your life. But now I know, now with all my fine wisdom, there's more to that. You have to change your information so that you can change your energy, so that change could actually stay. The information has to change. Okay, so now I want to give you a little story. I want you to meet my little dog. His name is Tucker. And although he looks like a happy little guy here, and he is a happy little guy now, we adopted this little dog at the end of April. And when I adopted him from a shelter, he was a special needs dog. And he was kind of psychotic. He definitely had a lot of emotional issues. He was a stray dog for over a year and a half, and then he went to a home for about a year. But this poor little guy had so much negative experiences in his life. At 3 years old, he had way, way too much negative and not nearly enough positive information. So he was a disaster. He was afraid of everything. He wouldn't even walk on the leash. I mean, literally, we had to drag him down the driveway, and he was just constantly cowering. It was awful. And they said the one thing about him that you need to know, Paul, is he will bolt out the door. Like if there's a crack of the front door open, he's going through it and he's going to run away. So he was quite a handful when we got him in April. And by midsummer, every door in our house was wide open and he had free reign. He can run away. He could do whatever he wants. And he's at my side. He's never leaving my side. He's the happiest dog in the world. And how did we do it? This is how we did it. So on the left here, you could see he had all of this negative. Now, I didn't do what I wanted to do. I wanted to use all my fancy tools to try to remove this negative energy. But truth be told, life gets in the way, and I just simply did not have time to work with him like I wanted to work with him. But what I did do with little Tucker was give him lots and lots and lots of positive experiences. In fact, since the dog got here, he has never had a bad experience. Even when he stole our pizza off of the counter the other day, he did not get yelled at, although he probably should have. He has had nothing but positive, positive, positive. Now, eventually, all of these positives are going to start to balance the scale so that he's going to start to forget, or the good is going to start taking over the bad. And that's exactly what we want to do in our own life. But of course, in our own lives, it's very important to take the bad out as well as put the good in. So that is one thing that I do want to make a point of. So basically, aren't we all looking for a shortcut to transformation? And I say here, if only there was a way to heal the pain from the past without years of talk therapy and meditation. How many of us can go to a Buddhist monastery and spend years there? We just can't do it. And that's really what bioenergetics is all about. I'm all about the shortcuts. I want fast and efficient. Okay, so now let's talk about the root of every problem that you're going to have, be it emotional or physical. In my opinion, it all boils down to just two things. You either don't have enough, your cells, or the cells and everything about your body doesn't have enough energy, enough positive energy, and there's too much negative information in there. So we got to energize you with good energy, and we got to remove this bad information. So I mentioned cells, and really, if we're talking about our health, it's all about cellular energy. Cells, and I know cells are really boring, but I think we've all heard at some point in a biology class, ADP. It's the currency of energy in our cells. We have to have our cells energized because our cells are basically the fundamental, the foundation of our health. And here's the thing, nobody really cares about cells, but what are organs? Organs are made up of cells. They're like-minded cells. So a bunch of cells that like to do lung things make up your lung, and a bunch of cells that like to do liver things make up the liver. And what is cancer? Cancer is simply the cells not having enough energy. And I want to make this point by asking you, even though you can't answer me, have you ever heard of heart cancer? No, you haven't, because to my knowledge, there's no such thing as heart cancer. And the reason for that is because our hearts have these huge electromagnetic fields around them. They're full of energy. In fact, if they weren't full of energy, we wouldn't be alive. So if we're alive on this planet today, our hearts have plenty of energy. And that's why our hearts don't get cancer. So that's just something to make you go, So you're probably wondering right now, are my cells energized? Do I have enough energy? So here's a really simple test. How do you feel? Do you feel tired, sluggish? Are you in pain? Do you have inflammation? If you answered yes to all of those things, I'm going to tell you right now, your cells don't have enough energy. But there's a more accurate test, and we'll get to that, of course. And then you're also, maybe you're asking yourself, what about my level of information? Do I have too much negative information? So here's the simple test. Are you predominantly happy, joyful, and optimistic? Or are you predominantly angry, frustrated, or fearful? Basically, is your cup usually half full, or is your cup usually half empty? And again, there's a more accurate test. Dun, da, da, da. So this is where I would like to introduce you to bioenergetics. So what is bioenergetics? I went to the handy little dictionary, and you can see, if you would like to read the official definition of bioenergetics. But basically, at the very most simple way to explain bioenergetics is it's a way to measure and change our information and our energy. That's it in a nutshell. So how awesome is that? We can actually measure it, and then we can change it, all with bioenergetics. Now, Albert Einstein, in all of his great wisdom, said, and this is a quote, "Future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies." Now, many people probably had no idea what the heck he was talking about back then, but now I think we know. So what is vibrational and frequency medicine? The idea here is that everything in the universe, just look around the room that you're in right now. Everything has a frequency to it. Every object, every stone, like here I have some healing crystals. Obviously, these have all kinds of energy. I mean, if you just hold one of these, you can feel the energy coming off of it. but every cell in our body also has a particular frequency. And like I said, like-minded cells get together and they make up organs. So your liver has a particular frequency, a healthy frequency. Like there's a range of the healthy frequency of your liver, and the range of a healthy frequency of your lungs, and a range of the healthy frequency of your heart. Okay, you get it, right? There's a healthy frequency to every part of our body, our chakras, our hormones, everything. So we know what the proper frequency of everything is. And now with a voice analysis, we can measure the frequency of everything in our body so that we can see if it's in tune or not. So I have a picture here of an orchestra, because just imagine that each one of those musicians were a different organ. So if all of these musicians were playing together and one of them is just like, oh, screeching, way out of tune, it's very obvious to our ears that, that the second violinist, something's wrong with the instrument. So now, if something was wrong with that instrument, it was out of tune, right? And how would that musician get his instrument back into tune? He would ask the first violinist, hey, play C, play B for me. And then when he hears that proper tuned note, he can easily tune up his own instrument. Now, it would be hard unless you had a really good ear to do this. You always need something that something that's in the right key for you to balance it. And that's exactly what bioenergetics is all about. First, we're going to find out which things are out of balance. Either they have too much energy or they're too low energy. And then we're going to take the healthy frequency and we're going to introduce it back into the body. And then what's going to happen is, let's just say one of them is way too sharp, it's too high. And then we send the right frequency in, it's going to help that frequency come back down. And an example that I usually like to give is, let's think about this in terms of moods, because emotions have frequencies too, right? So bad emotions are vibrating very low, and high good emotions are vibrating nice and high. Like love is like, a very high vibration. So let's just say I was having a great day and I'm sitting here at home, or maybe I'm not sitting, maybe I'm dancing. I'm just so happy. I'm playing with my dog. And then my husband comes home and he had a terrible day. So he's a grump and he's in a terrible mood. Well, here I am and here he is. What's going to happen in that household? Chances are my mood is going to come way down because he just was a buzzkill and brought me down. But hopefully my good mood brings him up a little bit. And chances are we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. And that's how frequency and vibration works. They affect each other. It's a beautiful little dance.
If you take each organ in the body or different parts of the body and you recognize that each of them is like a bell, each of them has a particular resonant frequency, by applying the right sounds to the right places inside the body, we can restore the body's natural state of vibration and a healing response occurs.
In the study of cymatics, for example, they showed that each organ of the body has its own unique signature sound. And it would sound harmonious when it's healthy and disharmonious when it's becoming diseased. And then they reversed that process of, okay, well, what if we take the signature of a healthy organ and then reverse engineer that sound and then input that sound into the body? And they showed that indeed it does bring a state of homeostasis and restoration to a healing state.
Okay, so now I just want to say one of the things that makes quantum medicine really powerful is the fact that we do not believe in one size fits all medicine. It just doesn't work. In Western medicine, they're very set on symptoms, not suppressing symptoms, but the diagnosis. First of all, Western medicine can't really help until they have a diagnosis. You have to take tests, and once the tests come back with, okay, you have XYZ problem. Well, now we have XYZ drug to fix that problem. Now let's say there was 5 of us all in the room and we all had the same disease, whatever the disease is, well, I can guarantee you that the root cause of that disease is different in every single person. So that's why this is so powerful. This is really getting to the root cause. We need to know which energy and which information needs to change. It's not generic in the real world. Okay, so the process, this is the process that I really am sticking by right now. It's 3 steps. It's detection, correction, and protection. So if you do have an issue, the first thing we want to do is find out what is causing this problem, what's out of balance in you. And then once we find it, the same technology that detected it can also correct it. And I'll get into what that technology is in a bit. And then, of course, just like going to the acupuncturist, having the information change, and then eventually it changes back. Now, I'm going to tell you, yes, I can probably correct you, but the minute you go back into the real world, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get bombarded again with more negative information. So that's why protect has to be in there as well. This is it's a constant battle. I mean, if we live on this world with all the toxins that we're physical toxins that we're putting into our body through what we eat and what we drink and the air we breathe and the water we drink, all of that stuff, plus all of the emotional toxins, we have to protect ourselves. It's a it's a part-time job anyway, to stay healthy in this world. So, and even the people that don't think they have a problem right now, they might want to come in right into the protection side of things and just say, you know what, I just want to listen to frequencies. I just want to make sure that I don't have a problem down the road. So, I'm going to explain, first of all, I'm going to explain ways to add positive energy in. We're not really going to get into in this webinar ways of removing the energy, but right now we're just focusing on ways to add the positive energy. So just like what I did with my dog Tucker, I didn't take the time to clear him out with all of the tools I have. All I did was give him lots and lots and lots of positive energy and information, and it absolutely helped him tremendously. Okay, so the first one is it's something called Genius, and it's Genius Quantum Biofeedback. And this is a voice analysis program. Now, this one is very specific, like 15 seconds of your voice. And we can look into, you name it. We could look into your hormones. We could look into your body systems. We can look into your organs. We could look into your emotions. We can look into your aura. I mean, if you have a specific diagnosis or problem area, whatever in the world it is, I could, if I don't already have the custom library for it, I could purchase the library. And this goes so deep. It's like, imagine taking a high-powered telescope and looking at every little detail of your energy. That's what the Genius is all about. And then the end result of the Genius, like, okay, we detected everything, but now what? How do we balance these? How do we balance our energy with it? There's 3 options for this. One is very, very simple, and there's an app that you can get on your phone. And then after I make the custom frequency list based on exactly what your body is saying it needs, I can send those frequencies to your phone, and you simply just listen. And it's not like you're hearing screeching sounds. It's a nice, pleasant tones, and you just listen with headphones on your phone. And that's the first way, and that's a good way to get these frequencies into your body. Now, the second and the better way is using PEMF, and that stands for pulsed electromagnetic fields. And the second way here is through red light therapy. And I have that device right here, and you can see the little dots here. And when this thing comes on, the frequencies via Bluetooth with the software, the exact frequencies are sent to it. And then these lights will flash, and you can put them anywhere on your body. Typically it's used either on the ankle or on the wrist. And it's penetrating much deeper than just the tones. So that's the better way to do it. And then the third way to do it, of course, is the best way. It's the most powerful way. Again, it's pulsed electromagnetic fields, but this is going through a big, heavy copper magnetic coil. And that is usually done in my office. I mean, all of these things could be purchased but of course that one is the most expensive one. But you put that coil usually right on your solar plexus. I mean, you could put it, like if you had a bad knee, you could put it on your knee or your feet or whatever. But that is a much deeper penetrating way to get these frequencies into the body. Okay, so that was all the first method that I use, called the Genius. And then the second method is called Energy for Life. Now, some of you here may know this as NES. It used to be called NES, but they have recently changed their name, for good reason, I guess, because Energy for Life just is more inviting. So this is another voice analysis system, and this one is much more broad, and it gives a tremendous amount of educational information. So after you do a scan, you will have, oh my goodness, you'll have so much information if you wanted to. I mean, I'm a total geek and I want to read every word. Not everybody wants that, but if you are the type of person that really wants to learn what this means, if my energy is off here, exactly how it's affecting all the different physiological parts of your body, this is the system for you. Now, the end result of this system would be a very detailed report that you can go back to. This system could make a custom meditation, so it knows all of the emotional aspects of your psyche, where exactly you're ready to make a change, and it'll create a 15-minute meditation that when you listen to it, you're like, oh my goodness, this was absolutely made for me. These people, they know me, they got me. And then the remedies here, rather than listening to sound or using light or using the magnetic coil, this is all about what they call infoceuticals. So it's all of these very specific proprietary frequencies that they have imprinted into these vials of water. And they're this big. I mean, one bottle is a month's worth. So the recommended protocol at the end of a scan would be 5 bottles of these things. And you would take 15 drops of each of the bottles in a little glass of water every morning. Now, if anybody is thinking, yeah, I don't know, just water. Number one, I want to tell you that this was my PhD dissertation research project. I did exactly this. Before I even knew this company existed, I made tinctures, and some of them I imprinted with frequencies and others I did not. And I was able to prove that the ones that were imprinted with frequencies indeed had better results than the ones that were not imprinted. So if you're thinking, yeah, I can't imagine just taking water with frequencies is going to do something. Let me ask you this question. If you were ready to get into this hot tub and I just put one little drop of poison, something deadly, one drop of poison, would you get in it? Or would you think, well, one drop, what are the chances one drop is going to affect me? Or would you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that one drop in that hot tub is going to contaminate the whole tub, right? So now let's think of our bodies. We all know that I think we're over 70% water, right? So imagine 15 drops of each of these every day for 1 month. Imagine what that would do to all of the water in your body. Imagine the impact of all of this information. And it's not just random information, it's information based specifically on where your body is out of balance. So let me just jump down to my almost last slide. Basically, I just want to let you know that this little presentation is just a very condensed version of my book. And my book is called The Quantum Shift: Embracing the Medicine of the Future to Heal the Pain from the Past. So in the book, of course, I go a little bit more into detail, but this is just giving you a quick and dirty overview of what the book is all about. And it's just me trying to spread awareness for the unbelievable healing potentials of quantum medicine when, we live in a world that isn't exactly happy about spreading information like this. Case in point, I live here locally in Maine, and I tried to get this book donated into my local libraries, and basically nobody wanted it. They all said no. So this is the world we're living in, and it's my mission in life just to spread the word. I mean, whether you want to come to me as a client or not, just know that this exists, and just have your eyes open to there's so much out there that you probably are never going to hear about unless you really go digging for it. So with all of that said, when I did this class live, I did a presentation and I told everybody that they can have a free scan, and they deserved it because they all drove out to the high school. And I'm not going to do that this time, and I'm not going to do a demonstration here, but I do want to just throw an offer out there. I have something called a quantum discovery session. And basically, you're just trying to find out, everybody's body is constantly talking, and your voice is saying so much more than the words that you're saying. So if you're curious to find out what your body is trying to tell you, I would love it if you scheduled a quantum discovery session, and it's only $55. This is basically an introduction, foot in the door, but it also comes with 30 minutes consultation with me. It's a one-on-one Zoom meeting where I will analyze it, and you can ask questions, and you're definitely going to be amazed at what you learn. And if you're interested in that, the website you could go to is reawaken.me. And I'll leave that up on the screen for a little bit so that in case anybody is interested, they could write that down. And then also, if you got that pen and paper out, I'm just gonna pop over to the last screen, which gives, and I'm sorry if it's small, hopefully you can zoom it up on your own end. But these are all the different contact points for me, should you like to keep in touch, and I hope you do. So thank you so much for watching, everyone.